Welcome to the 44th Sojourner True Founders Gala and Virtual Scholarship Symposium. My name is Cassie Cook, the past 17 Western District Governor of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs, Incorporated, and a member of the San Francisco Business and Professional Women. Thank you for joining us. The San Francisco Business and Professional Women Incorporated of the NANBPWC, as we celebrate, honor, and applaud our visionary founders. Our matriarch is Sojourner Truth, and we stand steadfast to her values and strive to build on the legacy of our founders. We represent some of the most outstanding women in the Bay Area to share their quest in making a difference in our society. We are honoring women that are deserving to be acknowledged. Last but not least, we are excited to present the 2022 SFBPW scholarships to some young ladies who met the requirement and are on their way to seek higher education. Thank you to the committee members that have worked diligently to make this evening a reality. Blessings and stay safe as we move forward with a purpose during these uncertain times. In BPW's spirit, enjoy your evening.
Good afternoon. I'm Reverend Rochelle Frazier. I'm pastor of South Hayward United Methodist Church, and I'm the chaplain of the San Francisco Business and Professional Women's Clubs. Let us take a moment of silence now as we remember our past national president and member of San Francisco Business and Professional Women, Frankie Jacobs Gillette. Thank you. Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks for Frankie and for the work that she has done. And we give you thanks now today for the work that Carletta Jackson Lane and all of the officers and the members of the San Francisco Business and Professional Women have been doing in our community. We gathered together today, Lord. Please be with us and bless us and keep us as we celebrate the work of African American women in our community. We give you thanks for our keynote speaker, for all of our awardees, for our scholarship recipients. May you bless them and keep them and lead them and guide them in all the work that they're doing in order to serve our community. We give you thanks, Lord, for the production crew, for the event planner, for everybody that is responsible for making this production a success. Please bless this time that we've gathered together. Thank you for this technology, and we ask for your grace to be in all of our lives. Continue to lead us and guide us so that we can continue to do the work that you've called us to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Welcome to our 44th Annual Sojourner Truth Award and Scholarship Virtual Symposium. My name is Brittany Doyle, the Western District Governor and member of the San Francisco Business and Professional Women's Club. This year's theme is Global Women Emerging with Power and Resilience, and I just think that is so ideal for us as we are transitioning out of pandemic mode and can now get back to living and creating a life that we truly desire. Today we are honoring some phenomenal women that are doing just that. These women are dedicated to building our communities and forging the way for women to thrive. We will also be awarding the Frankie Gillette Scholarship Fund to our selected high schoolers who I know will do amazing things throughout their college career. I would like to thank President Carletta Jackson Lane, the Symposium Chair, for this great event, and congratulations to the members of the San Francisco Business and Professional Women's Club. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Carletta Jackson Lane, the proud president of San Francisco Business and Professional Women Incorporated. Congratulations to all awardees and scholarship recipients. I would like to extend a special thanks to Dr. Sharella Cupid for accepting our invitation to be our powerful keynote speaker. This year, our theme is Moving Forward with a Purpose, Global Women Emerging with Boldness, Power, and Resilience. Black women in the United States are celebrating two historical shifts in power on the national scale. The continual national leadership of the first Black woman Vice President, Kamala Harris, and the appointment of the first Black woman to the highest court in the land, Supreme Court Justice Brown Jackson. San Francisco Business and Professional Women encourages youth and young adults to achieve economic independence through our Frankie Jacobs Gillette Scholarship Fund. We support the rising tide of young people in higher education and the pursuit of business and professional careers. We are honoring our recent deceased member and 24th past national president, Mrs. Frankie Jacobs Gillette, for her unwavering commitment to advocate for the Black women businesses and professions, as well as Black high school graduates in pursuit of higher education. The Frankie Jacobs Gillette Scholarship Fund was established on June 5th, 2021. We are thankful for her generous donation to the young women of the city and county of San Francisco. The importance of education, economic development, and entrepreneurship of Black women is paramount and provides an opportunity to advance social justice and economic empowerment. We provide support to our members and the community by increasing leadership skills and enhancing educational awareness. We are committed to partnerships with both local and national organizations. We are grateful that you have chosen to be present this afternoon. We are thankful for your continual support. Enjoy this year's informative and timely virtual symposium. We look forward to seeing you in person in 2023.
Naturally. That little man in the back over there say women need to be helped into carriages and over mud puddles. And I'm here to tell you, ain't nobody helped me into no carriages. And I ain't never been helped over nary a mud puddle. And ain't I a woman?
Oprah has been reciting these words since she was a young woman. They're the daring thoughts of one of the most powerful figures in African American history, the abolitionist and women's rights advocate, Sojourner Truth.
The woman we know as Sojourner Truth was born Isabella Baumfree. She was born enslaved. She lived with several masters before running away to New York City, where she changed her name to a name that announces her mission as someone who is on the road to telling the truth. She was an itinerant preacher, and so the name Sojourner fit quite well.
In the 1840s, Sojourner Truth committed her voice to the abolitionist movement and became a formidable and widely respected equal rights activist. Although she never learned to read or write, Truth was an extremely popular speaker at anti-slavery and women's rights gatherings. And in 1850, she published a book, The Narrative of Sojourner Truth, which she dictated to a white feminist author. But it was a speech she delivered in 1851 to a crowd in Ohio that would make Sojourner Truth a feminist icon.
I done born 13 children and then seen them all sold off into slavery. And when I cried out with a woman's grief, ain't nobody but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman?
So the thing we know Sojourner Truth for is that she said famously, "Ain't I a woman?" Or did she? Because the historian Nell Painter says that really her words were twisted to fit the agenda of a white woman journalist who came to hear her talk. But what we do know for sure about Sojourner Truth is that she had a long history of showing up particularly to suffrage spaces to challenge people's most fundamental belief system. And so even if she didn't say, "Ain't I a woman?" she is saying, see me for who I am. Recognize my gender, recognize my struggle, and treat me with dignity and respect.
I would like to thank the San Francisco Business and Professional Women Incorporated for the opportunity to give the keynote for the Sojourner Truth Luncheon and Scholarship event. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Marcia Canton for her mentorship and care over the years. Before I give the address, I'd like to share a little bit about myself. I'm a Baltimorean, interdisciplinary scholar. Currently, I am a postdoctoral researcher at Louisiana State University. And most importantly, I am a sister of many sisters, a daughter, a community member, and I truly believe we thrive when we all make it together. As you already know, this year's theme is moving forward with a purpose, empowering Black women's health and wellness and caregiving professionals, which is very relevant considering for over 2 years we have been living in a double pandemic. One, due to COVID-19, and other, due to structural racism, which has resulted in a greater loss of lives of brown and Black folks for over the last 2 years. So, in grounding where we are in the theme of this conference, this keynote will first, I will review the current literature on Black women healthcare professionals about their experiences over the last 2 years. Second, I will discuss the meanings and importance of sister circles, especially for Black women healthcare professionals. And lastly, I will uplift the importance of expanding and joining forces across sister circle organizations. In centering Black women healthcare professionals, I reviewed the literature produced since the pandemic and largely are centered research written by Black women healthcare professionals. And this is important coming from a Black feminist, womanist perspective, and that it's vital that we always center those who are living the experience in order to produce a more honest representation within our scholarship and practice. In the field of nursing, for example, scholars recognize the unique position Black women healthcare professionals have, as residing both within the Black community and also within healthcare. For example, Dr. Adrian L. Edwards found that nurses viewed their roles as mother work due to their heightened sense of responsibility for educating the Black community about the virus while also empowering them to address their health concerns. These nurses recognize the medical mistrust that a lot of Black folks have towards the medical industry, so they use this knowledge and also their position to respond in culturally specific ways. The importance of their position in delivering care to Black patients was a common thread across different fields, while simultaneously being underrepresented within their profession. From nurses to physicians and research scientists, they all spoke about the effects of being one of a few within their fields. Beginning in their training, these professionals shared that they were viewed as competent, qualified, capable, and deserving to be within the field. And these discriminatory experiences continued into their practice. Additionally, due to their small numbers, some have reported professional loneliness, which is a cause for concern for the entire healthcare industry for several reasons. One, minoritized patients tend to prefer professionals who look like them. Some will even wait an extended period to be cared for someone who looks like them. For example, within maternal care, when Black pregnant women have Black doctors, infant mortality decreases by 15%. Attrition is also an issue. For example, within the field of physicians, Black women physicians are leaving at a higher rate due to the overall climate. Lastly, in thinking about how COVID-19 has elevated how structural racism impacts social determinant of health in the Black community, many industries have announced an increased focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. However, if Black women healthcare workers are leaving the field due to professional loneliness, what does this mean for the wellness and care of Black communities? What medical and health advances are being delayed or completely undiscovered due to their lack of belonging? While Black women are vital for the holistic well-being of our communities, we can no longer and should have ever suffered their mental health for their roles. As a society, we know on average that our mental health has decreased due to the chronic stress brought on by the pandemic. And when we also think about the historical expectation and practice of Black women being strong and super, while also adding on the chronic stress of these times, it's really important that we address them, especially those who are within these healthcare professions. For example, one study found that at the beginning of the pandemic, Black nurses reported having both lived and vicarious racism-related stress, low levels of psychological resistance as well. However, they were able to mitigate its harmful effects by identifying and utilizing coping resources. And when we think about coping resources and mitigating factors, this is where my scholarship on sister circles enter. So what are sister circles? Sister circles are informal or formal support groups that build upon existing friendships, fictive kin networks, and a sense of community found among Black women, often within a particular setting, such as education institutions, professional organizations, and religious institutions, with the overall goal of Black women's advancement. Black women have a historical legacy of creating organizations to address their concern. Beginning in the 19th century, both enslaved and free Black women continued to fight American colonization through efforts to promote abolition, anti-lynching laws, suffrage, and gender equality through Black women organizations. Historically and to the present day, we can see how Black women use organizations to both theorize and strategize ways to address Black womanhood, family, and community upliftment. So as we can see, Black women have used sister circles and continue to use sister circles as an organizing tool and a transformative space to address the needs and concerns of Black women and girls and also the overall Black community. This area of research is also an emerging field where a lot of the research is coming out of the field of education. I started to look at sister circles in higher education, particularly for Black doctoral women and Black faculty women. And last year, I wanted to expand this research by looking at the health fields. So I launched a study titled Sister Circles in the Health Professions During the Double Pandemic. The aim of this study is to explore how this population is navigating the pandemic through an investigation of their lived experiences, as well as offer recommendations to medical and health professional leaders to address the experiences and expectations of their workplaces and education institutions. I also received funding from the Raleigh Center for Media and Public Affairs. In order to learn more about the experiences, I disseminated a mixed method survey, and I'm currently conducting focus groups to gather more of the story behind the quantitative data. I will discuss some of the preliminary findings from the survey. So there were a total of 70 participants once I cleaned the data, and the majority were in the field of dentistry at 26%, next in the field of nursing at 20%, and lastly in the field of therapy at 13%. One key area that I want to highlight is that of mentorship. Effective mentorship has been found to be a key factor across many fields, including the medical fields, in regards to professional socialization and advancement. And within the health literature, Black women physicians have shared that they often do not have mentors, and even further, mentors who look like them. First, in thinking about their training into the professions, of the 64 participants who responded to whether or not the educational institutions had a formalized mentorship program, 39 of them responded yes, and even further, 21 of them responded that they received a mentor from this program. There are a couple of insights that we can glean from this result. First, students are likely to participate in mentorship programs if they are available. Second, students are likely to receive a formal mentor if it is a part of the program. However, there was a sizable amount of institutions that did not have programs, and a good number of students are not receiving mentors from said programs and or participating in these programs. Thus, there's a large number of professionals who are entering into medical and health professionals at a disadvantage because they may not have gained knowledge regarding the customs, norms, and expectations of their professions. When layering this with the already perceived incompetence that some Black women experience during their training, this adds to the isolated and chilly atmosphere that they experience, which may lead to work dissatisfaction. Fortunately, again, for many participants, they stated that sister circles became a space of support for them during the pandemic as healthcare professionals. When asked about the meaning of having a sister circle during the pandemic, there were three key findings. One, sister circles offer them a space to be sane and safe. Second, it allowed them to receive various types of support. And lastly, it aided them in personal and professional growth. And I will uplift some of the responses so that their voices can enter into this event. First, sister circles offer them a space of sanity and safety because, as respondents 10 said, who is a registered nurse from Maryland, being able to speak to other women who look like me and have similar experiences has been helpful when navigating the struggles of working in healthcare during the pandemic. Black people in general, and especially Black women, are disrespected and not well supported within healthcare. Having a sister circle of Black women I went to nursing school with has been very helpful in maintaining my sanity within this profession. This response was consistent among many other responses in that having a space of mutual understanding, helped them to maintain their sanity. When we think about sanity, for them it was a validation of their reality, not having to explain what it means to be a Black woman within healthcare during these times. It's apparent that sister circles become a space for them to cope within their unique positions. Even further, Respondent 3 states that they keep me sane and offer me a safe space to be me, no filters needed, and I can take my mask off. When we think about mask and masking, many Black women across different professions often put on a mask in an effort to protect themselves against potential experiences of gendered racism. So therefore, having a space to take off the mask allows these Black women to have an authentic experience. Sister Circles was a positive factor in maintaining their mental health because it provided them with professional and personal support. For example, Respondent 60, a therapist in Kentucky, states, "It helped me to sustain my mental health and provided emotional support during the pandemic." While in the heart of the racial injustice movement in Louisville, Kentucky, my sister circle created a virtual safety net and a space for me to be authentic. While having difficulty finding an appropriate mental health professional, my sister circle brought me solace. So during the pandemic, we know that there has been an increase in folks seeking mental health counseling and therapy, and many Black folks prefer therapists and counselors who are Black. This therapist also being a therapist and wanting to find a Black therapist, but the demand not being met is really crucial when we think about what does it mean for a Black woman therapist to find difficulty in finding therapy. Also, the location is also important to uplift because we know that Louisville is a city where Breonna Taylor was killed by police. So as we can see, this therapist is experiencing multiple sites of stress while being a therapist and her demand increasing, but not having a space in regards to finding a mental health professional to respond to her need. Respondent 50, a behavioral scientist in Georgia, states, "It saved my mind and my career. I've been able to run things by my circles both professionally and personally to be sure I am keeping a level head during such a transitional time." So again, we can see the ways in which having a sister circle allowed them to receive social and emotional support. Lastly, in thinking about growth, many respondents stated the ways in which their sister circles helped them to grow both professionally and personally. For example, Respondent 70, a physician in Massachusetts, states, "As a late career physician, it added to my overall sense of mentoring and safety. Being able to share wisdom and insight about navigating the system of medicine has meant a lot." So in looking at this response, it's important to highlight two areas. One, when one enters the career, and two, mentorship. As I have previously discussed, Black women healthcare professionals often complain about the lack of mentorship. Thus, for some, which is consistent within the literature, sister circles also incorporate mentorship, and this is vital in considering that mentorship and sponsorship has been repeatedly found to increase one's overall promotion and trajectory. When thinking about the dimension of wellness, it's apparent that being a part of a sister circle contributed to at least three areas of wellness. One, social, two, emotional, and three, occupational. For respondents, having a space to be safe allowed them to be authentic. They didn't have to explain what it means to be Black, what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a healthcare professional, what it means to be a Black woman healthcare professional during these times. So thus we can see that across many fields, that sister circles became a space for them to cope, for them to exist, for them to have joy. So some of the respondents stated that they did not have sister circles, that it was their first time hearing about the concept of sister circles. However, they were interested in being a part of a sister circle. So how do we address this population of Black women healthcare professionals who are interested in being a part of a sister circle? One approach is to create partnerships among existing organizations and create initiatives that center the needs of this population. So for example, it will be San Francisco Business and Professional Women Incorporated joining forces with the National Black Nurses Association Incorporated, and in particular, we can start with the San Francisco chapter in regards to the Bay Area. So when we think about joining forces, it's important that we think about three main questions. One, what are we already doing? Two, what resources can we share? And three, how can we expand so that it's feasible? And in thinking about those three questions, I also want to leave us with this. How do we practice rest? I often bring up rest because Black women often occupy a lot of leadership positions in various aspects of our lives. And when there is spillage between family, work, and education and recreation, there will be role overload and role conflict. And when we think about what does it mean to be a part of sister circles that are full on by Black women, how do we call in rest as routine? Even further, thinking intergenerationally and generationally, what conversations do we need to have to motivate and to remind us to remain whole? So as we can see, overall, sister circles, whether they're informal or formal, whether it's organization joining forces to create partnerships, they are a sacred space for and by Black women. And thinking about Black women being whole in a system that often benefits off of our labor without intentionally pouring into our wellness, but rather depletes our wellness, the research is demonstrating that sister circles offer Black women a place to restore. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Marcia Canton, First Vice President of San Francisco Business and Professional Women Incorporated. I'm here to present the scholarship recipients for this year's Frankie Jacob Gillette Scholarship Fund. The first one is Ms. Janiyah Jackson, who was a president of Black Student Union, Mission High School. Janiyah will attend the University of California, Santa Cruz, and we want to wish her all the best. The next recipient is Ms. Jasmine D. Bailey. Jasmine is a student at Galileo Academy of Science and Technology, and Jasmine will be attending San Jose State University this fall, and we want to wish her all the best.
My name is Jasmine Bailey, and I attend Galileo High School, and I am honored to be a recipient of the Frankie Jacob Gillette Scholarship Fund. Thank you so much. Identity is not inherent. It is shaped by circumstance, sensitivity, and resistance to self-pity. Dorothy West. By the time one reaches their teens, they get an idea of who they are and who they want to be. I discovered that I'm a jubilant, caring, affirmative, and resilient individual who likes to give back. I found that social workers work to address issues in and out of various communities to help people. In addition to that, they help people work on themselves and cope as well. I admire the work they do and wish to be a part of that.
Our next recipient is Ms. Alea Burney. Alea is a student at Balboa High School, and she will attend Xavier University, Louisiana. We want to wish Alea all the best.
Hi, my name is Alea Burney, and I'm going to be talking about my important activity essay. I wanted to make a difference in this health crisis, so I took part in an internship at Opportunities for All called Food Insecurity. a program to better help the people in my community suffering from food insecurity, to spread awareness and gain information on the effects that cause food insecurity and create solutions to end it. Together, my peers and I created a project to give people in my community access to nutritious foods, helping the people in my community live longer and maintain a healthy lifestyle. We discovered a way to give families access to resources that are not accessible in my neighborhood. We created grocery bags with pamphlets full of food, full of information on what food security is and the components that make up food insecurity. These pamphlets gave information on where they can get access to food banks and other food resources. As a result of this, there will be fewer hungry families in my community. It also included different affordable recipes for people to have home-cooked nutritious meals at home. We also provided them with gift cards to buy these meals. It helped the people in our community because it gave them resources so they could afford these meals. Thank you.
I would like to present the San Francisco Business and Professional Women Businesswoman of the Year Award 2022 to Sheila Harris. I would like to present the San Francisco Business and Professional Woman of the Year Award 2022 to Felicia Thibodeau.
Thank you, Carletta. My name is Felicia Thibodeau, the recording secretary for the San Francisco Business and Professional Women's Club. Today, I graciously accept the award of Professional Woman of the Year 2022. First, I'd like to give thanks to God, who is the head of my life. Then to my family, because of their love and support, all of this is possible. To our club president, Carletta Jackson Lane, the Western District Governor, to my Southwest Community Corporation Board of Directors, my staff at IT Bookman Community Center, and the Lakeview OMI partners, thank you for all of your support and trust as we tread our way through this pandemic and as we continue to serve our community. I thank you for the opportunity to serve in the capacity of the Executive Director of Southwest Community Corporation, and I am humble and graciously accept this award. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Maxine Willis Usery, born in Shreveport, Louisiana, moved to West Oakland in 1941. A graduate of San Francisco State University, she entered a career of advocacy being mentored by the revered Julia Coma, Ruth Williams, and Eloise Westbrook. She began her career working for the San Francisco Economic Development Council, the place where she met her husband of 53 years, Wilford T. Usery. In collaboration with several leading ladies like Miss Alma Jackson, Eleanor Spike, Eileen Hernandez, and Patsy Fulcher, they founded Black Women Organized for Action, the San Francisco branch of Black Women Organized for Political Action, which we all know as BWAPA. They were visionaries in foreseeing the need to help Black women get elected for political office on a local and state level. And we all know BWAPA is still effective today in achieving this goal. In 2004, Maxine went to work and continues to work for the Post News Group, one of the largest African-American-owned weekly newspapers serving the entire Bay Area, where she continues to work as the Chief Operating Officer. At 83 years old, she is still committed to uplifting Black women. Her contributions and dedication to building our foundation has been nothing less than extraordinary. She has been able to reach women working with the NAACP, the Urban League, the Congress of Racial Equality, the Commission on Status of Women, the Alameda Probate Court Reform Movement, and many more. She is here to work with Black women. Maxine's spiritual connections have been a cornerstone of her life. She has served as an active member of Bethel AME since 1968. She has definitely been a blessing to us, and we thank you for all that you've done. I am pleased to present Ms. Maxine Willis Usery with our highest honor, the Sojourner Truth Award. Thank you.
We hope you have enjoyed the 44th Annual Sojourner Truth Scholarship Award Symposium. We would like to give a special thank you to Ms. Cassie Cook, the Western District Advisor, and Carletta Jackson Lane, the President of the San Francisco Business and Professional Women Incorporated. Please remember that we continue to move forward with a purpose. Thank you so much for coming. Good night.